Hi, how are you doing? Welcome back. So a while ago I've made a video about the life path number 9, and in today's video I just really want to follow up a bit on that. So if you're still new to this concept of life path and numerology and things like that, then definitely go out and check that video, because I share a lot of my own synchronicities that I've experienced in my own life as a lesson that you could use for your own journey in life, of course. So once you have realized you're like a life path, you are on a life path number 9, it means you're, a pretty old soul and intuitive sensitive. And because of that, you will be facing a whole lot of different set of challenges. So the real question, of course, is like, you realize that you are a complete misfit of this normal structure we call society. So then a question of course is, so where do you fit in? What is your place in this world? And of course I've been struggling with my own things in life. I can definitely, harness my different insights and lessons out of that, so I can continue sharing with this. So in this video, what is your place in this world when you are an old soul, an intuitive sensitive, empath, whatever label you want to give yourself. But if you're here, you pretty much can identify yourself as that. Now, you have figured that normal society is just not your thing. You just don't fit in that concept. You have been already doing your homework quite a bit, and you have quite opened up your third eye and you see beyond the veil. It's like this matrix we are living in. You have been able to to channel in, to see through that. We have the veil, you are able to look through that and look to a broader perspective of everything. And basically you're kind of able to see, what is going on, what is happening in this world. And you kind of realize, like, okay, so perhaps there are a group of people in this world who have their own agenda, and one of these agendas is basically to keep everybody stupid, to keep everybody kind of like in a veil of ignorance. So that's really how they turn everything in their own benefits. Quite recently we had here the petrol crisis still kind of going on here in the UK. It's like in the media, please don't panic, there's not enough, there's this or this, that. And then what do people do? The sheeps of this world, they go and do panic buying, and then those who are having jobs relying on driving and such, they can't go to work because of this kind of behavior. Now you look at that and you think like, it will go over, I will just park my car and I will just do my thing and I will just wait a couple of days and, let it pass by. That's a bit more your attitude. I mean, I think in the same way. Just because everybody's doing that doesn't mean I have to, queue up as well. I don't fancy doing that. So you're quite adaptable to this whole situation. You're kind of able to look everything from the side. You're like a bystander looking at how everything is going through, and you're just laughing your ass off because there's another spot. There's not a place for you. But the question, of course, so what exactly is that place? So we can pretty much say like this whole veil, this whole matrix-based culture, we could pretty much say that's kind of like a pyramid scheme, right? It's a pyramid scheme because we, the people, the society, we are at the bottom of that. The next step is, of course, the authorities, the police, the military, everything. Above that, we pretty much have like different levels of corporations. Or I would say, no corporations, sorry. The next level is basically like governments. Governments are controlling, of course, the authorities. And above the governments are basically all the corporations in this world, right? Corporations simply, they control this world. That's it. And then in the top we have like the 1%, the elite, who are controlling all these different kind of corporations in the world. So that's really pretty much a pyramid scheme where we as society, as the wage slaves, we are carrying this weight, this pressure, this corruption of this world. And you're pretty much sure that you don't want to belong in that world. We all know at an intuitive level we don't want to be part of that. So there are different things we can do, of course. We can go and fight against that, because in some way it's the world we grow up in, so it's pretty much familiar to us, and we want to fight to that what is most familiar to us. But there's also a different battle you can choose, and that is really, you know, what do you really want to fight for? You know, what kind of reality do you want to experience? That's the whole question. Now, of course, we could say, all right, so in order to step away out of that society, you know, you must create your own business. So that's one thing, right? And then and there are just so many business systems you can work on. You think about the home-based business and all of that stuff, and it definitely has its place, right? But if you are a real old soul, chances are you have also already experienced that as well, like going into business for yourself and generating wealth and all of that stuff, and that's not really new to you either. So then the whole question, like, okay, so I know what it's like to be in marketing, to sales, to do this, to do that, you know, to make money and to chase money, but also that cannot longer satisfy, you know, the deepest aspects of your essence anymore. So what else is out there? Now there's one more pyramid scheme out there, you know, that we could climb, and like it or not, but I just like to call these phrases pyramid schemes, because when we look at the alternative solutions, you know, that could be able to help you get out of that corrupted system, we already say, oh, isn't that a pyramid scheme? Wait a minute, you have been living your whole bloody life in this corrupted pyramid scheme, and now you look at a different solution and now you say, isn't that a pyramid scheme? Anyway, there's one more pyramid scheme that probably you're already familiar with, but maybe you have forgotten that that is actually your path you must be continuing to work on. It's the pyramid scheme, or the pyramids from Maslow, right? The pyramid of Maslow is like, hey, the top of that has everything to do about self-acquisition, and you know, there are like these different levels, right? The first level is about your material needs, your security, your self-esteem needs, your social needs, and then of course we go to the top and we talk about self-acquisition. So if you are on this life path number 9, then the only place left for you is to be at that spot, is to be at the top of that pyramid scheme, because that's really the number one thing we must commit to, because that is really the golden nugget, the beacon of light for this whole other, you know, people who are following us, because they are still kind of like asleep in the matrix, and some of them are awakening, they are trying to make their own business and all of that stuff. And yeah, of course, making your own business and chasing that, it makes most sense for us, but it's not really something we wanna spend too much time on. So as a leader, for us it might be a good idea, like, okay, I understand how the stuff works, how can I get the right people around me in order to do the operational stuff, so I can have more time for myself to work on this number one thing that lies ahead for us. And that of course is to be in top of that pyramid scheme, the pyramid of Maslow, the journey of self-acquisition. Because how more we commit to that journey through self-care practices and personal spiritual development, that's the only real reason why we're here, basically, anyway. I mean, everything what we do, all these vehicles we can talk about, you know, all these systems, business systems we can talk about, they are basically a vehicle for us to grow. That's it, end of the line. It's not for us to just, you know, accumulate more stuff. You know, that can't satisfy us. It's more about, okay, listen, it's kind of necessary in this world to live on, but at the end, we must grow in a certain way, and we must go through different lessons, different insights in order for us to make it work. So when, for example, you are just like me on life path number 1, it's more about, you know, sharing insights, is to be more the teacher, is the consultant, the advisor. And yes, we can build infrastructures in order for us to support that cause, to support that purpose, and it's more about learning to develop trust that what has to come into our life will come in our life in order to support that cause, but we must stay committed and dedicated to work on that cause, and even when it just doesn't make sense, because we are trained to chase after the things that we think we need or want, but it simply does not work for us. I mean, it has worked for us in another lifetime, but not in this lifetime. What worked for us is to work on this lighthouse, is to develop that lighthouse for ourselves. That is our lights that we must reactivate and ignite, so we can, share this beacon of light to those who are going through this darkness, this dark age we are currently on. Because at the end, the real truth, we are still going through a pretty dark phase within the next 10 years. Anyway, I will leave it with this. Let me know your thoughts. Simply drop a comment below. Take care for now.